story time how a spirit managed to connect me to his wife, where he needed to get some messages to her. So this poor lady her husband had taken himself home. He unalived himself, and obviously it left her in a very traumatic emotional state. And it was a couple of months that she was trying to process and go through her grief. And she wasn't really somebody that would seek out a medium or a clairvoyant, or she's not somebody that would seek that sort of help. So she was just trying to go through things on her own, which is fair enough. That is her choice. And what happened was every single day, when she used to do things in the kitchen, she used to take her ring off her finger and put it in the same spot near the fruit bowl, near some tissues. It always sat in the same spot, and she would finish doing her cleaning and then put the ring back on. Anyway, this one particular day, this was probably 7 or 8 months after her husband had passed away, she took her ring off, she did her cleaning, and when she went to go and put the ring back on, it wasn't there. And so she thought she may have flicked it off the kitchen counter. She looked around on the floor, she looked through things, and she just couldn't find it. After a couple of days of not being able to find the ring, she thought to herself, maybe I will try to use some kind of psychic that can do lost items. So she Googled psychics that can do lost items, and my name came up because because I visualize things. I can visualize where things are lost. And so she contacted me for a lost item reading. Now, about 2 days before she contacted me for that reading, I was out in the garden and I was doing my gardening, and I happened to look up and I looked towards my house, and there was an energy of a man standing next to the house. He showed me exactly what he looked like when he was still alive. He had a blue shirt, brown trousers. He was kind of very, very serious looking. I had all his facial details, and I just as I looked up from the gardening and I looked across and I was looking at him, there was no interaction or anything. It was just me noticing that he was standing there, and then he disappeared. So when it was about 2 days later, when I received this lady contacting me for this lost ring, it was this instant thought, because she had written in her thing that this was a very special ring that was given to her by her late husband. And the moment I read those words, I thought, this is her late husband. He's here. He's been here already. 2 days before she contacted me, he was here standing against the house. So I happened to write back and say to her, did your husband ever wear a blue shirt with brown trousers? And I described all his facial features and a few other things of detail. And then she said, we laid him to rest in a blue shirt with brown trousers. So then I knew that he needed me and her to have a conversation. So I started off, because I do my email readings, like they're all written. So I started off writing, and I said, it's not even about the ring. The ring's just going to show up later today. It'll be with food. It'll be somewhere with food. But it's not about the ring. He was trying to get you to somehow contact me so that we could have this conversation about your grief. And then this great big long email went on about like the healing that needs to go through, and that he is okay. And I'm not going to go into detail because it was a private thing between herself and myself. And it was a way of him expressing to her his sorrow for what had happened. And so she got the reading, and she said she cried her eyes out when she got the reading. It was very healing in a way for her. And then she went to the fridge and opened the door, and there was the ring sitting on some fruit in the fridge. And he had moved that ring so that he'd moved it so that she contacted me. If it wasn't me, it was going to be somebody else that was going to be helpful. But he showed up at my house, like his spirit was at my house. It had to be that I was the one in particular that had to have that conversation with her. So I love the way that spirit can find their way around things to get people together. Fascinating.